will be talking about support and what institutional infrastructures best supports a performance process. We will ask the question around what do commissioners, curators, and host institutions need to consider when developing a performance program. So we will hear from these amazing practitioners and curators who have developed frameworks and infrastructures that support and facilitate practice and who are mindful of the responsibilities and ethics of privileging the body in relation to the object in exhibitionary contexts. So I don't really want to speak for the artists, but I will introduce their names and give them the opportunity to carry out their presentation. So we have, and I apologize if I get your names wrong, I'm very sorry. Ugoran Prasad, who is a performance maker and a researcher from Indonesia. Veneri Pereri, who is an artist from Sri Lanka. Tanzim Wahab, who is a curator and a researcher based in Berlin, but originally from Bangladesh. So because we just want to kind of get to know the artists, their practice, the work that they've been doing, I'm going to hand over to Ugoran, who's going to present his presentation to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you, Chinasa. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's been a real privilege. Stopwatch. A search for decolonial institution, AntarRagam and Majelis as experiments in performance. What I am about to tell you is not a story of triumph, but hopefully you will find a thread of persistence. I'm talking about supports in the arts from the viewpoint of its delivery system, cultural institution, as its method, specifically as viewed from a third world location. I come from Indonesia. Here, I am pointing at modern institution as ideology, epistemology. Here, I am thinking about institution at an intersections of two discursive trajectories. The first is the decolonial theory, Anibal Quijano, Walter Minolo, etc. And the second is Shannon Jackson's discussion around the institution as a parameter of the social practice genre and its various names such as relational, aesthetic, new genre, public art, socially engaged art, dialogical art, and participatory art. In this intersection, I am aware of the possibility of performance as means of decolonial options. I am, however, wondering about the possibility of decolonial institution for the art and its methods. Could we find one or make one up, and how and why? From the first trajectory, decolonial theory identifies coloniality in all aspects of our livelihood and prescribes the delinking process from dominant epistemology as options. For the third world subject, integrating into modernity was painful and traumatizing. So common sense prescribes how the linking will be as painful, or if not more. The active sense of the linking indicates its ongoing state and perhaps its perpetuity. So it's on and on and on. From the second trajectory, Shannon Jackson's views that institutions should be the anchor of the social in the social practice genre, what Pablo Helguera identified as an art medium that focuses on engagement through human interaction and social discourse. Support, the topic of our discussion, is therefore literally one of its aesthetics. But to paraphrase Jackson's, to be more engaged, the social in such a work must be more accountable. It is not enough to claim support as a part of the social practice aesthetic. What is imperative is its accountability. how the support is delivered, managed, maintained, and sustained. This genre allowed us to think about breaking the wall between the backstage and the front stage of our works. For my collective, Theater Garasi, like many other institutions, an organized separation between the two areas, front stage and backstage, was a crucial foundation for our works even until today. As prescribed by the organizational grammar of local and international support system, funding bodies, and commercial enterprises. Backstage, we tried to build an institution proper, a yayasan in Indonesian language, which is a foundation with organizational structure and programs, when we even deciding with a silly bet which one of us had to train herself with the delicate art of Microsoft Excel. Also, we decided to build an open library, a periodic journal, translation series, an open studio, meeting between artists, and programs for developing performer makers beyond our collective. Front stage, we devised performances in various forms, both in and outside the theater place, against colonialism, coloniality, modernity, capitalism, neoliberalism, the new empire. Full disclosure, no one forced me to show this picture. Am I right, Fenry? Okay. We'd like to think we were twisting the arm of these big ideologies, this big institution, but we were fully aware that we might be standing too close to the sun, foolishly thinking that we were staring at its singular eye, when more likely by that time we must have already lost our vision. What I am truly trying to say is I'm really, really tired of looking at spreadsheets on my laptop. And before anything, we really, really, really need to decolonize Microsoft Excel. Despite clouded vision, over time, we learned that knowledge is most consistent outcome of our performance. That's how we define performance, a means of thinking and doing. Performance practice allows us now, Garasi Performance Institute, to step outside the dominant discourse regarding our support to a broader network. We think that performance would allow us to, allow the network to engage with situatedness and the politics of location, and persistently performs differences. But again, to support is also to introduce, to mold, to reshape with a particular grammar that might eventually help no one. With this constant sense of trepidation, we initiated various network-based programs. Two of them are the following. The first is Majelis Dramaturgi, Dramaturgi Assembly. Began in 2017, Majelis is a non-hierarchical forum for various performance makers to develop their project. Everyone in the forum serves as dramaturg for each other. We were trying to find ways to apply Eve Sedgwick reparative reading for performance, believing that there is no bad idea in the room, and if we found a questionable one, it becomes the responsibility of every single person in the room to make it good. Practice as research is one of our point of reference, but corporeality and performance should be championed over text and discourse, although the Majelis practice is dominated by verbal dialogue, people talking to each other. So far, we have managed to organize our diverse work into three big thematics. Slow down, okay. Time and slightly slow down. Okay. So far, we have managed to organize our diverse work into three thematic umbrellas: performing history, in, out of space, place, and the one we'll explore in a bit, the Invisible Dance Project. The second, not unrelated, is Akademi AntarRagam, developed out of the schooling program AntarRagam for Open Laboratory. It is a semester-long program applying the Majelis reparative approach. The first half of the semester is structured to provide an overall view of experimental performance practice that were founded on situatedness and the politics of location. Again, second time. The second half of the semester facilitate participant research, development, and presentations. The 15 works of this young participant from all over Indonesia traveled relatively well after the conclusions of the laboratory in February 22. including in the several festival, and the Indonesian Dance Festival in late of that year, and some other festival. The laboratory graduate recently began to take over the Majelis to design its current and future program. So everyone from the previous year dethroned, now everyone from the rule the Majelis, this young generation. Now about the Invisible Dance project that I promised earlier. I will talk specifically about Lembana Argo ecosystem work, 24 hours in Lembana as an example. Lembana is a small village located in Sumeneb, Madura, a small island in the east of Java. Lembana Argo ecosystem was formed after the initiator, Fikril Akbar, a native of Lembana, and also reside in Lembana until now, took part in our program on the island, followed by his participation in AntarRagam and the Majelis. We invited the group to join our Invisible Dance research, a collaboration between Garasi and Mandip Raihi, pushing for sustainability of our ideas and our approach. We continue to apply the Majelis and AntarRagam approach in the project. The project in Lembana departed from a self-reflective inquiry around Lembana's temporality. During the member of the Lembana's group travels to other big cities in Java and other places, they found that Lembana have been engaging with time, how they schedule and how they embody their everyday life in a very different way, a unique way. For example, the village lunch break uniquely starts at 9:30 in the morning, and then they will have a long siesta and begin again at 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon. This coffee stall is a very unique coffee stall because they open only at 6 in the morning and close 2 hours after that, 8 in the morning, and only sell one cup kind of coffee, and that's it, nothing else. The group then observed that and mapped the villager various sites of labor and gathering places. We encouraged them not to think about the final form of the research, and we agreed that it will be helpful to gather and organize their finding, their research, by applying Dinah Taylor's repertoire, looking at the villager various habits as performance, institutionalized behavior with their respective scenarios. They eventually came up with a broad research finding, so many sites, so many activities, and so many subjects. As we discuss how to articulate all these repertoires, we choose to borrow the structure of the theater festival program book. They titled each of the villager activities, described them in a manner of theater synopsis, and frame them as theatrical events, and then also structure it in a chronological order. The result is 24-hour in Lembana festival. The festival that we cannot bother to attend, it's too far, a statement of a geopolitical inaccessibility and imagination. But by reading the program book, you could trace the remains of the bodies of Lembana and its temporal difference. We'll continue the conversation around archive and repertoire in here. Okay, sustainability of ideas. This year, we will continue to work for Lembana for the next stage of their inquiry. This is an invitation as well as a funding pitch. Based on the program book of 24 hours of Lembana, we will hold an offline in situ festival in Lembana. We will invite performance makers, some of you are here, and producers to engage with particular repertoires in the program book as performance scenarios, either to copy, I'm calling Puspa, to reenact, to embellish, to intervene, make it stranger, make it more mundane, and stage them for Lembana's people, only for Lembana's people in a 24-hour event. And again, you are all invited to join us. Now, with all these possibilities and positivity, with all Lembana's excitement with the near future of their inquiry, we need to be as open as possible that behind our support there is a particular grammar that they have been aligning with, an integration and linking process to a particular circuit of knowledge in theater and performance. The best thing that we can do is to make sure that we were trying to create a safe environment, a safe working environment as equal as possible, but fully realizing that structurally, we did not actually begin from an equal standing. We really, really hope that the integration process will not be a traumatic experience, but the delicate thing trauma is, we actually could not really tell. The question remains about where the linking should be located when the whole thing I have just depicted for you could be totally viewed from the perspective of modernizing process. We believe that we have twisted its arms, but our belief system is questionable, and our art is not trying to be a religion. As I told you earlier, this is not a story of triumph. However, I do hope that you find in it a thread of persistence. Thank you.